is the GMologist, GM extraordinaire, the GMologist.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the GMologist Presents. I decided to just make it two separate episodes, so you'll see that I refer, this will be part 3 of the podcast, and I redo it. Now, I just decided to make part 2 a separate episode where I have a panel of D&D players, Streamrolla, and the Arcane Alienist, and they join me to answer the question. I don't know if we even answer it. Maybe we do, but in any case, it's a fun discussion. Hello, everyone. Actually, I'm going to add a third segment, so ignore that you just have the outro, or maybe I'll redo the outro. But I brought in a small panel of large personalities to discuss with me, can you play too much D&D compared to other games? And with me today are hopefully people who will do more talking than me and give their perspective. First, we have Streamrolla.
Hello.
All right. You know Streamrolla as the producer of the YouTube and podcast stuff that I do. And my longtime partner in crime in this life. And also we have the Arcane Alienist.
Hello.
And the Arcane Alienist is my good friend, and guy plays a lot of my games, and hopefully I play in a lot of his games. And guess what? We play a lot of D&D. Or D&D like, right? So the D&D Monopoly holds 50% of the TTRPG market share. So it kind of has its own genre, it's its own culture, where players can rarely branch out, and people know. Well, if you say, "Well, I game," and they go, "Oh, like video games," like, "Oh, good," but then you say, "No, like tabletop role playing games," and they give you a blank look, and then you say, "Like D&D," they go, "Oh, okay." So even a person not familiar with the genre will recognize D&D. And Streamrolla says that 90% of our watchers on YouTube watch our D&D offerings. Correct?
D&D, AD&D, Pathfinder, Shadowrun.
Shadow Dark.
Yeah, many.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was kind of curious when you say it has 50% of the market share. Is that you specifically talking about Wizards of the Coast 5th edition D&D?
I mean, it probably has more if you add like all the other.
Because I would almost I think more broadly you could say, just like Amy or Steamroller just said, 5th edition D&D, Pathfinder, anybody playing a retro clone or an older version of D&D, Shadow Dark, a lot of other D&D, that sort of D&D style fantasy,
right? OSE, even like Into the Odd or Black Hat,
Hyperborea,
DCC.
Yeah, DCC. Yeah. We could keep going and going, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we want to ask the question to ourselves and analyze maybe in a short discussion if limiting oneself to D&D creates a less satisfying experience than diversifying into other game systems. I don't know.
I would put out there that, if you think about it, what game do most people want to get into gaming using? It's D&D. It's what they see in the movies and on YouTube and video games. And I want to say it's one of the first, not the first, but one of the first. So maybe it's not so much that that's the game they want to play, but that's what they recognize as role playing.
Yeah. So, but what do you think are some signs that you might be playing too much D&D though?
I think are we talking about too big a percentage of your game time is spent on D&D style games, or are we talking about you're playing too much tabletop role playing and you need to go outside and
I think that's
grass?
I think that's a totally separate discussion, and I think that would be more your your wheelhouse, BJ, to talk about obsession and addiction and compulsion. Um, so if you want to tackle that, we can on a different podcast. But I think
Yeah.
this is you know less serious stakes here.
Yeah.
Compared to the games that you play, are you having too much D&D or D&D like, I guess.
Personally, I
Really?
feel like I hit a threshold where I feel like every game is D&D based and it's the same. Maybe a minor story change here and there, but it's pretty much the same. Roll your dice to see if you can move, roll your dice to move forward, roll your dice to make a decision, and end up in a dungeon.
BJ?
Yeah, I think that's a genre convention. That's like saying I'm going to play Star Wars, but I don't want to touch it. I don't want to go on a spaceship. It's in the title, Dungeons. So, but
Yeah.
you are right. I mean, that is something you have to either concede, or maybe that means you need to find something else to play sometimes if those parameters are a little too repetitive or too restrictive for you, because I think that is what happens. I mean, D&D ultimately is a game about exploration.
Yeah. Even if you have like an urban setting or urban game, you explore the manor house, which becomes like a dungeon above ground in a way, right? Or you explore the townhome
or the sewers,
or the castle. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying that the dungeon doesn't need to be there. I think honestly, I think the game depends more on the people that are playing it, more so than the system.
so you don't think that the gameplay predictability is a bad thing? Like roll to hit, deal damage, repeat with no tactical or narrative variance, I guess. That's something that I, as a GM, I mean, I get, right? Because to me, at some point, if I could, I've done this before, but if I could, that's the cat coming in.
Mm-hmm.
If I could, I know a point in a combat where players are going to win, right? And I'd like this, just like, okay, just move forward. You guys win, blah blah blah. But players want to see it out, and I've done it before where I've kind of montaged combats or situations, and it's just a big turnoff to the players. They want to hack and slash, man. They want to, you know, they want to see it to completion. I think if that's part of their gameplay and their experience. But for me as a GM, that roll roll to hit damage, repeat, roll to hit damage, repeat is it gets on me as a GM.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well, where like we're just biding time now until you put away this thing's hit points. But
Mhm.
but it is kind of, they do feel cheated if you suddenly tip the scales in their favor. Um, I think for me, it probably depends on which version of D&D we're talking about. If you're
Mhm.
talking about like some of the older versions of D&D, like original D&D, basic D&D, BX, or some of the retro clones like OSE or Swords and Wizardry. I don't know, because combat's pretty simple.
Mhm.
Characters are pretty simple. I think if you're playing Pathfinder 2, D&D 5.5, you put a lot of cognitive load into building your character,
Yeah, 3.5 Pathfinder
and
1.
and to not get to show off the choices you've made by your feat, spell, uh, class ability combos. That can be really unsatisfying to say, oh, I kind of selected this kind of thing so I could try out this combination and see what happens, and I never get to do it because a fight never lines up and presents an opportunity.
Mhm.
That can be really dissatisfying as a player. Same way, like if you custom build a monster that you think will be really entertaining and interesting for everybody, and they kill it in 2 hits, and it never gets to roll out its special abilities.
Or they put their Medusa ally in front of the group and watch her turn everyone to stone.
Yeah.
Right, Streamroller?
It was just a suggestion. But again, it depends on how the players play the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I would say that I would disagree that there aren't tactical choices because I think what really is important, especially in these, to me, in these older games, is how you set up the combat. What little tricks you might use to make the combat easier. You know, do you get the surprise off? Do you, get the all the characters lined, all the bad guys lined up in a row down the corridor to fire your lightning bolt, or unleash your shocking grasp or spark shower.
Yeah.
Um, so I think there are some tactical decisions for game setup. I mean, but the once those are accomplished, I can see it. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, and maybe, and this is purely a matter of taste, but one of the reasons I've backed off of more modern games is because as much as I enjoy the character building and the challenge of that and seeing what characters can do, both as a player and also as a DM watching what players can come up with, because players are so resilient now, or characters are so resilient now, you can have some cool stuff if people will coordinate their efforts, but they don't have to. They can walk through most encounters as though they had just met 5 minutes ago and aren't really a group. I'm going to
Mhm.
go over here and kill this guy. Well, I'm going to go over here and fight these guys. It's very much harder to tactically penalize players when they can just wait out the encounter, even if they're not using sound tactics or they're not really playing off each other's abilities.
Yeah. Whereas in the older games, I think that's
That's suicide
if you
in
yeah,
in a older game to not
right,
to.
right.
Kind of feel like the older editions, you're more invested in your character, you're more invested in the world, you're more invested in the adventure, and not so much just the brutality. For
Yeah,
instance, we play AD&D, so in order to go up in level, you have to train and you have to pay for your training. So how are you going to get the money for that? You have to go adventuring.
And you have to
But
meet people to train you. Yeah,
well,
mhm.
it
So
requires relationships.
yeah, and I wonder like so so in the earlier versions, right, it's gold that is sort of the XP currency, or the gold translates to XP. And I know I've had many a party try to avoid an encounter with a powerful creature that could kill them, wait it out, and then steal the treasure, sneak in and take the treasure, as opposed to trying to fight the monster for the treasure. So there are some tactical and strategic decisions. So I kind of disagree. Depending on the system that you play, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same old, because you think through it and you think about it. Um,
Yeah, but I think Amy, you're right though. It's the people you're playing with, because one player who doesn't want to, who can't grasp onto that concept and tries to solve everything with combat, you know, everybody's trying to talk their way past a dragon, and the one person who's determined they want to fight it, well, the dragon's going to attack everybody now. You've kind of have to know what group you're with, and everybody kind of has to have a common understanding of how they're, as a team, we operate. And if you got
I
one
think
person who's just oblivious to that, it can kind of spoil it for everybody else.
that requires some GM flexibility too. You can't,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know, especially in published adventures, they say, well, this creature is super hungry, so it's going to attack everyone. Well, I mean, didn't feed it. It didn't want to attack everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's silly. I mean, some of the tactical decisions that monsters make, they don't always attack. That's why I like the reaction roll is very important, right, to me. And that, hey, sometimes the monster is going to look at you with some caution and curiosity. And it's not just going to jump at you. I mean,
for what it's worth, I would say pretty much 3, 5, and below are still fun D&D for me to play. But you get up to the higher level D&D, and I'm like, you're just making a character to be the star of the show. And where's the group play? Where's the party? Where's the storyline?
Yeah.
I think it lost its magic for me when it went that way.
What's
Ooh.
interesting to me is when when we first rolled out both fourth edition and fifth edition in my home groups, I was playing with people like me who had been playing since the 80s, and they didn't really occur to us to play a different way. So it worked just fine. We still continued with that. Let's plan as a team. Let's know each other's abilities. Let's share, go around and share the spotlight. But as I've dipped into other groups, when I didn't have anybody else to play with, local groups, and I think a lot of the people who cut their teeth on fifth edition or Pathfinder, it is all about their character build, and so they do. It is sort of like you're talking about. This is they're waiting to kind of show off their character as opposed to explore the world.
Yeah. And I feel like once they get to a certain level, they're like, well, I'm done with this. Let's get another character. And it's no longer about the game. It's just about, if you just want to make characters, then get together and just make characters.
Yeah. And that's a valid way to play. I'm not going to criticize people for playing that way if they do it and they enjoy it and everybody at the table's having fun. But I know it's not the way I'm used to playing, and it's a way I can play, but I'd rather not if I don't have to.
Yeah.
Well,
I enjoy more of a storyline, and I enjoy finding ways around a battle. I apologize for the squeaking. That's the dog. We're having animal issues tonight. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy that a lot more. I enjoy the feeling of being in an adventuring group in an adventuring party, going from point A to point B and having a plan versus, okay, you go up and you hit here and I'll get from the back and then we'll just grab the loot and go.
yeah. So, what kind of games could we mix in, or what are the benefits of mixing in other games then when looking at or asking yourself the question, are you playing too much D&D? Is it good to branch out? I think it is. I like branching out. I like to branch out more, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I like playing raccoons.
Yeah.
When the Arcane Alienist ran the raccoons there, that was fun.
Yeah. That wasn't even really a role-playing game. That was just a board game that encouraged people to act silly.
We role played.
Yeah, we did. We role played. I think it's good to branch out to see how other games work, because you never know what you're missing. But I think that's probably a biased question with the three of us, because I think we all prefer that.
Play anything.
Yeah.
Play anything. I mean, doesn't it beg the question of why do you play role-playing games to begin with?
Yep.
Get to escape, to get away.
Yeah.
Take your mind from the issues of the real world and find a fantasy world. Be a big damn hero,
Mm-hmm.
You can find things from other games and bring them back to D&D to make it fresh. Just like you could take some things from D&D and put them into other games to customize it a little bit if you're real careful about what you're doing.
Yeah.
To break the monotony, I'm trying to play different characters. So it used to be I would only play a druid, and then I was only playing elves, and so now I'm playing a paladin. But playing it lawful good is much more difficult than you might think. But playing to the factions and playing to what my belief systems are can change the game to where it's more enjoyable or less, depending. That heavy breathing is not me. I so apologize.
Wow.
What do you think?
Yeah, BJ, what do you think?
About playing different games?
No, what did we ask that question? Well, I mean,
I think,
I guess as a counter to that, why play other games? Because you could, like we've been describing, depending on your table makeup, you can do just about anything in a D&D game the players and the GM are willing, right? It takes both, it's both sides, right? The
Yeah,
the GM
but
the GM who is want to encourage exploring or encourage thinking out of the box, letting players go, hey, I have this thing, and I've had been carrying it around since like first level, and maybe I can use it here and see what happens, right?
yeah.
With it.
Well, I think with D&D, even though there's many different ways you can play D&D, the different styles you can get at, like D&D is never going to do space opera as well as Traveller.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's never going to do Eldritch Horror as good as Call of Cthulhu
Mhm.
because that's what those systems are built for
Mm-hmm.
and mined for. Um, just like Call of Cthulhu style madness, insanity is never going to work in D&D because D&D is a heroic game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
I mean, you can die a heroic death by losing all your hit points, and that's a little more satisfying when you're playing a fantasy adventure game as opposed to, you know, slogging along until your mind finally snaps from all the trauma. Um,
Yeah, I think it's just easy. It's an easy concept to, and then there's, I think a benefit or a bonus in D&D is that uh, I know that depending on the system, of course, but generally speaking, there is like a definite increase in power. The level system, as much as it's maligned, really shows that jump. Whereas a skill-based system like Call of Cthulhu, how do you know if you get more powerful, right? It's or in Traveler, the original system didn't have any way to advance. You have to, it's like a optional rule or a tack on, and you just accumulate stuff. I guess that's the thing in Cthulhu. You increase your credit rating to accumulate wealth so you can do more things and find more Eldritch tomes and then blast your mind. I guess that's that's the goal of Call of Cthulhu. And
I
Traveler's
think
like,
I think I think in those games you grow your character grows horizontally. They develop a wider range of skills and resources available to them versus in D&D your character grows vertically. It becomes, even though there's a little bit of that horizontal growth of stuff, it's primarily an increase in overall power compared to, the baseline.
you know,
I think I would compare it to, do you like getting up and having the exact same breakfast every day for the rest of your life? I mean, every once in a while, you just want a little variety.
I mean, if it's peanut butter and jelly toast,
No, can
You
leave
can
the
you,
peanut
you
butter
can
out.
have grape jelly, you can have strawberry jelly, you can have
Oh,
apricot
some
jelly.
variation, yeah. But it's still a PB&J.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes
Oh
you
man,
just
we
want
just
some
came up
bacon
with a
and
really cool metaphor, huh?
sometimes you just want bacon and eggs.
That's true sometimes. Or chicken and waffles.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm just saying sometimes you just want to play a different game because you just want something different.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I think for me, I guess the verdict is I really like D&D. It's the first game I played. I can think of so many different stories to tell with D&D. For the most part, except for rules exceptions, which is primarily I think what 3.5 and above are made about, right? It's like rules exceptions, so you add or tack-ons. Um, it's easy. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
For me, also Call of Cthulhu is so easy to do too. And maybe uh, rotating those in or introducing alternative games, single session formats or short stint for a particular game. I mean, I know Streamroller is big into Twilight 2000, and
Yes.
but we have so many tales to tell with that one too. So from the good old campaign that we started to these mini campaigns that we can throw in. So there's lots to explore in a lot of different games, and I think if only we could just retire and play games all the time.
Here's the thing though. I D&D was my first game. It'll always be my favorite game. And if you were to tell me I could only play twice a month, I might not be looking to branch out.
Hmm.
because if I only get to play twice a month, I'd kind of like to consistently play a D&D character. I mean, twice a month, you can get a good 3 or 4 years out of a character if they survive.
Yeah.
Before you've seen explored a big part of the world, seen everything that character is capable of. You know, so yeah, I think when you play games 3 or 4 times a week, it's a lot easier to go. We need to spread the love around and try some different stuff. If you're just getting to play very rarely, I think there are benefits to sticking with one thing at least for a while before you try something new. Because you want to test out the system. You want to have a complete experience, right?
Mhm. Dreamroller, what do you think?
I'm a big fan of trying all kinds of different things.
So even if you could only play twice a month?
Yeah. Because I've been in so many groups that we play 1 or 2 times and then they're off to do something else because their character's completed in their opinion, and then it's starting over again. So for me, it's a frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, let's face it, I like bennies and I like using luck and I like some meta currency.
But that's something you can import, like Traveler. There's no meta currency in Traveler, but Carl imported a house rule to give us some meta currency.
Some luck, yeah. Well, because I think it's always like, I mean, and then Call of Cthulhu has that luck mechanic too, because it's always frustrating that you're off by 1 or 2 points in a, that kind of system. So here's some meta currency,
Yeah.
Depends on if the dice gods are happy with you.
There's a lot of problems with it, but one thing I felt 4th edition D&D did very well was the action point. The way it implemented the action point is you started the session with an action point.
Yeah.
And it came back. There were enough ways that it would come back with enough frequency that no one felt their need to hoard their action points.
Mm-hmm.
So it really encouraged earning them, and it encouraged spending them in a way that gave you opportunities to try again or boost yourself or do something interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it all goes back to D&D. You can import that into bennies and rerolls into D&D.
Although a lot of people would argue that 4th edition is not really different.
Yeah.
It is so different from anything else that's ever borne that name.
All right. Yeah. Well, any final thoughts? I think it's been an interesting and quick discussion.
I would encourage anybody who loves D&D to try to find opportunities to try other games just to see what's out there. But if you decide that, given what time you've got to play, that's where you want to invest your time, that's okay. Mm-hmm. But don't, but before you decide that all you ever want is vanilla ice cream, at least try the other flavors.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Streamroll, any final thoughts?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. A fun little discussion on can you play too much D&D? And really, I guess there is no answer. It's up to you. I prefer to rotate some games through here and there, and even have some long-term campaigns with other games besides D&D. But D&D is one of my forever games, so I will play it as much as I can. So thanks, guys, for joining me, and we'll talk to you soon.
Night.
Good rolling.